if I'm going to be honest with you, I don't understand why so many people are hating on Bloodlines. Because this whole re-release is 6 months of work. The game wasn't closed for those 6 months. Keep in mind, Bloodlines had to deal with having an average player count of 100 to 200 people for several years since release. It had a loyal player base of about 100 to 200 people that would play despite getting updates, every 4 months, simply because they enjoyed the game. They didn't complain about it. It wasn't perfect. The game had a lot of issues on release. That's probably why it didn't do too well. But it had something that kept people playing. Do you think a genuinely awful, horrid game, one of the worst on the platform as described by multiple YouTubers, could hold any sort of player base for that long? There's a reason why this game came out at all. It had people that wanted to play it. There are so many good games out there that just straight up die because people don't want to play it. Or there are bad games that die because people don't want to play it. There are bad games that don't die. People just have different reasons for doing different things. A lot of the time with the bad games that don't die, it's just low-key an addiction, because I'm looking at Deep Woken, I'm looking at Type Soul. Okay, Deep Woken is a great game that should not die. I just really don't know where that game is going right now. Whereas Type Soul is a terrible game. They had their chance, they messed it up. Point is, Bloodlines is not the same at all. I've seen a lot of people complain about the lack of content added. Because they didn't. They overhauled systems in the game. They added a couple weapons. They added Shukaku. They added some villages. They added some Kages. This isn't really a content update so much as it is a systems update. That is what warranted 6 months of work. They added a whole new area as well, but people aren't exploring that and talking about it. They're just complaining about when you play Bloodlines, the immediate first few things you see, which is okay. Games like this should have tutorials. They should somewhat explain how you should get started. There's not even a Trello, which is probably actually really bad. The only way you can really get any any sort of understanding of this game is by watching that one guy. What was his name? Olvar? Great video, by the way. Great videos in general. But yeah, I understand that. That's a valid critique. Games like this should have a tutorial. But then it starts to sink in that once you read these videos calling Bloodlines awful, or rather watch, you come to realize that they're not really hating on Bloodlines. They're just kind of hating on the idea of Bloodlines, and a lot of them don't even understand what Bloodlines is. It's not an amazing game. It's not a perfect game, but it's fun. It's fun when you get into it. It's fun when you actually progress. It's fun when you actually explore. I personally liked how unique the progression was, destroying the chakra points. I'd never really done anything like that before. I dropped a few hours on it when I was younger, and rather when it first released, and in a couple of the updates, once the game was dead, I played every now and then. I unfortunately had an unobtainable build since they changed it so that only Uzumakis can get healing buff. I was a Senju with healing buff. Now that's gone. Massive shame. Point is, I liked the game, and there was a lot to do. My primary goal in life was to scoop a new Uchiha, and although I can't do that anymore, I suppose I can get someone else to do it for me. It was just unique in the aspect that it offered things other Naruto games at the time didn't. But now people are just saying it's bad because it didn't change much. But you need to understand, when I say they, I mean the devs, Arkham, has made it clear that there's a lot more content to come. He clearly signposted what he was dropping in this update, which might not be much, but it's still something. And he clearly signposted what he intends to do in the future. There's only one Jin added in this update. People were acting like this update was supposed to be the huge update to reimagine the game. No, they added one Jin. How many are there in Naruto? 9. 10 if you include Ten Tails. Just think about that. Just think about what Arkham could have added, but quote-unquote didn't. If that makes sense. All these videos hating on Bloodlines, some of them have valid points. Some of them bring up valid things about how the game looks outdated or how not much has changed. I understand where you're coming from, but they just come from a lack of understanding. This isn't a huge re-release. The game was closed for a couple of days at best, and most of the updating process was done behind the scenes while the game was still up. There weren't any major crazy changes. It's just that one day they decided, let's make a trailer to showcase, what we're doing with this update so that people can jump back on the bloodlines train, maybe if they jumped off of it along the way. Because this game had a small niche community that enjoyed the game. But now all these other YouTubers are seeing it because there's nothing else to play and are just ragging on it because they don't understand the point. It's not a huge update. It's just catering to the Bloodlines fans that already existed. Eventually, the influx of players will drop off and it'll fall back to regular levels. And that's probably what the devs are going for. But anyway, I also wanted to address a couple of misconceptions. People are saying the gates are locked behind the Lee clan and that the devs are lazy, greedy, because clans that people want, like Uchiha and Otsutsuki, are only 1%. While you are right, you have to consider in a game like Bloodlines, there are technically benefits as well as disadvantages to having a clan with eyes. You can get scooped. Now, it's not like the game when it was first released, when exploits were still an issue and would just fly around and scoop out your eyes. While that could still happen, the likelihood of it happening is really low. Also, there are systems to protect against you from spawning in and instantly getting scooped, unlike release. But point is, do you want eyes? You don't have to roll Uchiha. You can just find someone to scoop for you. If you roll Uzumaki, you can just scoop yourself. There's risks and there's rewards. The scooping process can fail. You don't even need Uchiha eyes. You can get Hyuga eyes, The point is, you don't need to you don't need to spawn in, roll Uchiha, and that's suddenly the only way to play Bloodlines. Obviously, everyone wants Uchiha. It's Uchiha. Everyone wants a Susanoo. Everyone wants this. Everyone wants a Susanoo, let's be real. But you need to understand that you don't need that, especially in a game like this where there'll be some form of meta. Well, there would be a meta if it had a sizable player base. But you don't need Uchiha. And although people might want it initially, they'd come to realize that if they just appreciate it for what it is and played it. You don't need to reroll for a clan. To you, it might seem greedy because it's 1% and everyone wants it, but maybe that's just not what the devs designed. That's just not what they had in mind when they made the system. People need to consider other possibilities. A lot of these videos criticizing this game are just sort of only acknowledging what they think the devs are trying to do, instead of other things the devs could be possibly trying to do. It's just so narrow-minded. I'm not saying Bloodlines is an amazing or a great game. It got re-released less than 24 hours ago. It's just that people need to stop judging a book by its cover. Read it. Actually read into it and understand the context behind it. That's important. I almost forgot to signpost this, but you don't need the Lee clan to get the gates. You can obtain some gates. It's only some that are locked behind the Lee clan. And I do agree, this is dumb. It shouldn't be locked behind, a paywall. But a lot of people are trying to misconstrue it to make it look like, oh yeah, if you want even the first gate, you need Lee clan. I'm pretty sure I heard someone say that. So you just need to consider the devs didn't design the system with that in mind. I think it's dumb, and I think the gates should be readily available to everyone, and the Lee clan should give other benefits. But a lot, and I mean a lot, of people are misconstruing that, and it's making the game look worse than it is, which is just what a lot of the recent hate has been.